mentioned, obviously Max is going to get in here, and like I said, I'm in the streets. Max almost seems blacker than you, Stephen A. with what he's coming, with this commentary.
With all due respect, my brother,
I'm just saying, dog.
Wait a minute, wait to finish.
I'm just saying.
I'm gonna check you right now. You don't cross the line.
I'm just saying.
Time. Wait a minute. You don't cross the line.
Ooh, looked like Stephen A. Smith did not like that. So for those of you who don't know what's going on and what has happened recently, a couple of days ago, Max Kellerman has actually came out and finally spoke on the whole First Take issue with Stephen A. Smith. You know, how he was abruptly fired. So now he's speaking out, and Stephen A. Smith is not liking that. But we're going to go ahead and listen to what actually Max said, because he, let me just say this. I believe Max. If I had to go with Stephen A. Smith versus Max, I'm going to go with Max. He's telling the truth. He's not lying, y'all. But let's go ahead and hit that like button and subscribe to their channel, and let's go ahead and get into it, y'all. All right, so here we go.
You leaving ESPN and you weren't able to talk about a lot of stuff, and a lot of other people were talking, including people you did shows with. How frustrating was it for you to sit on the sidelines, be talked about, but not be able to talk?
That doesn't bother me at all.
Okay.
You're talking about me like I'm not sweating anybody like that. But I was very flattered that, because if you go off the air, you're not sure that the sports world would care, right? But people seem to care. I was like, oh, look at that. People are thinking about me. I was very flattered by it, to tell you the truth. And in terms of the stuff that went down behind the scenes, there were things said to me in private that early on that it's not like anyone said to me, hey, this is top secret, don't repeat this. But I think there's a general understanding that if someone's talking to you in private, it's a private conversation. And I wouldn't repeat that unless they said it was okay to repeat what they told me.
Yeah.
So that's what I could tell you about, like, the behind the scenes stuff on First Take, for example. But in terms I'm really not worried about that stuff,
But so Stephen A., you're in a relationship with where you're doing a show together for how many years? 4?
5.
5 years. You're with this dude every day. Seeing him in the mornings, you do commercial breaks, you're hanging out.
Sure.
And then the show ends, or the show ends with you, and he moves on with other people. And then, and I should say, I like Stephen A., and I've always gotten along with him. I didn't love how he handled the aftermath of you leaving, whereas basically.
For those of you who don't know, Stephen A. Smith went on a whole world tour bashing Max. But Max wasn't allowed to say anything because he had a gag order. And on top of that, he still technically had like a radio show with ESPN, so he couldn't come out and actually speak on it. So Stephen A. has been able to speak this whole time, and Max wasn't able to say anything.
Like, I told you the show would be better. I just thought, because I think you're really talented. Now, you and I have known each other for a while. Whether it meshed as a show perfectly, I don't know the answer to that, but I just didn't think that was the right way to handle it.
If you're doing a debate show and you're a competitive person,
yeah,
why would you want me as a partner? That's bad. You want to go 15 rounds every day with Muhammad Kellerman? That's just bad.
Not Muhammad Kellerman. And one thing you have to give Max credit for is that the dude is smart. He is smart as hell. So, when it comes to like all the players and knowing the stats, he knows it like the back of his hand. And so most of the time on these like shows with anchors and stuff like that, they're prepped on, okay, we're going to talk about this and this is what you're going to say, blah, blah, blah. And then you go. Well, with somebody like Max who studies this stuff and just knows it, you can't debate with somebody like that. They're going to ether you each time. And yeah, Max would ether him. And you even seen the clip in the beginning where Terrell Owens was all like, damn, Max is blacker than you.
It's embarrassing,
So you think that was part of it? He didn't want to put the time in? Or like just wanted a different type of show? What's your take looking back?
I don't think it has to
later?
do with put the time in. It's, it's a debate show.
You're ready to roll on all topics.
You want to like if you're. I have an idea. This is what I want to put on TV. I want to spar Bud Crawford every day for 15 rounds, and I want everyone to see it. Eventually, you're going to say, I don't want to do that anymore.
And you bring in some other people in a rotating cast.
Yeah. I mean, that's one aspect of it. There are others. In other words, that's what I could tell you from my point of view.
Yeah.
And I also think that if you make a calculation, that if you can be perceived as a solo act, really, that you can get paid at a certain level that you can't if you're not a solo act, then you'd like to be a solo act, or at least perceived that way.
Well, so like Mike and the Mad Dog are a good example of a show where it was the two of them together for a long, long time.
Because, hey, even Molly is gone, you know? So Stephen A. Smith is the one thing that does remain constant on that show. Everybody else is interchangeable. I mean, they had Cam Newton. They've had different people on the show, right? Since Max. But again, the cast is ever changing. So at one point you get to like, okay, well, Stephen A. Smith is the one that kind of remains consistent. And we know that he's worth $100 million now, or at least that's what his contract was for. So Stephen A. Smith, I can see him laying on like, well, I want to be the leading man where you feel like you need me. And if you got somebody like Max who challenges him and is winning the debates, it doesn't look good for you, because at the end of the day, they might look at Max and be like, well, it seemed like he knows more, and so we're going to go with him. It's a shady business, but hey, that's how it works, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden, whatever happened. Mike got his own show and he stayed on top for
Do you know who was supposed
6,
to be?
7
Do you know
years.
who he wanted to be in
Did you
Mad
get the
Dog's
call?
new position? Oh yeah, that was the plan. I was supposed to go over and work with Mike. Yeah,
Interesting. Because I got the call. Who else got the call?
I don't know, but we had like come to an understanding.
So you're going to leave ESPN and do it?
I did leave ESPN
But not to do a show with Mike.
Yeah.
You did the show with Mike?
No.
So what happened?
My interpretation of what happened, my analysis is, I think he realized at a certain point, they're not going to make me take a partner. Why should I take a partner? Because I'm beating the hell out of the guys across town by myself. I think when he thought they're going to make me take a partner, then it was like, okay, well, I'd like it to be with that guy. And then it was like, I don't need a partner.
Yeah, that's too bad though, because I actually think long term he did need a partner, because it's always good to have people to play off of.
Look, I don't need a partner either.
No,
but I like having one, because I find conversations more interesting than just talking into the wind, you know?
So and over the years, you had Brian Kenny.
Yeah.
So real quick. So Stephen A., because he has responded to this, his argument was that First Take was not a debate show. And I'm kind of like, it always has been. Maybe I don't remember, but for me, it's always been like a debate show where people have their own perceptions and their own ideas. Like, yeah, y'all might not be yelling at, well, anything with Stephen A. Smith, he's going to be hype, yelling and screaming like he always does, right? But I would consider that a debate show. Like, and let me know in the comment section. Like, I consider First Take to be a debate show, especially during this time. Yeah, it was.
And Lampley, Marcellus Wiley.
Marcellus for a while.
Great partner. And in fact, I've become good friends with the people I work with, because I like, Bill, you know better than anybody. We're getting away with it. If you're in this business, you're getting away with it. Shh, pocket them. Shh, we're talking about sports.
Right.
And like,
you'd be doing this anyway.
Come on. It's your job as a guy, like an average American guy. It's your job to follow sports. It's like literally what you have to do. You have no choice in the matter, right? You got to find out what's going on. And so how to make that experience even better? Hang out with your friends and talk about sports, right? Like, why would you not want to do that? It's interesting because Stephen A. was the one partner I've ever had over like years.
Yeah.
Where I didn't feel like a relationship was really forming.
Mm.
And I like to go to work and you know.
You could feel a little bit watching it. And it was hard to tell how much of it was theater and how much of it was like.
And by the way, Stephen A. Smith wasn't there on his last day. Talking about Max, wasn't there on his last day. So yeah, that lets you know, yeah, they weren't friends at all.
Oh, these guys just don't get along in the same way, or
whatever you feel about who you're working with and what the situation is. To me, a cardinal sin is betraying that on the air. You should always be thinking about making the show entertaining.
Right.
And I do think it reached the point on that show where it was like, come on, dude, we the first priority is to make good TV.
Well, good TV is like professional wrestling, right?
Right.
Both guys have moves. You guess so the other guys move.
Of course.
And I think we've all been in situations who've done this where you're with somebody or on a bigger show where people either selling your moves or they're not.
Right. Exactly right. But he's a showman. Like he would, I never had to worry about when the little red light came on that it wouldn't be a show, but it would be like, you don't want to be undermined,
Is that a fun show to do? Like, did you like doing, 2 hours a day of just 5 days a week of having to react and just be like prisoner of the moment stuff?
The issue with that show is this. What is a hot take? A hot take is a counterintuitive conclusion that on TV, you're going to just state your conclusion. You do analysis about a subject. You come to a conclusion that's counterintuitive. So when you say it, people will be like, what are you talking about? Give me 90 seconds. I'll explain it to you. Oh, at least he has a point of view. If there are 12 topics a day and you have 12 hot takes on those topics, because by and large, there's a consensus about sports. This guy's good. This guy's not as good. Whatever it is. This team is in the right direction, the wrong direction. Whatever it is. The consensus is usually correct, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes, some small percentage of the time, in fact, what everyone thinks is not true. If you have a counterintuitive conclusion about every topic in sports every day, you are insane. Like Skip Bayless is very entertaining, and I always enjoy my interactions with him privately.
Yeah,
he's insane, right? Like you have 12 hot takes a day, unbelievable, right?
Right.
You've come to 12 conclusions that go against the consensus every single day that you're gonna. But Stephen A. has no hot takes. Stephen A. almost never. I can't think of any counterintuitive conclusions that he ever reaches. That's not his job on the air. His job is to be the big reactor to a counterintuitive conclusion. Reactor. He's there to hear the crazy conclusion that his partner has come to and actually be the everyman with a loud voice. Like, you are crazy, right? And do it theatrically.
So a lot of people are new to Stephen A. Smith because now he's getting into politics and stuff like that. But he's always been the reactor, like with the and all the screaming. And that's just who he is. And let's be honest about something too. With Max, because Max is so knowledgeable, Stephen A. Smith wasn't able to really counter him or come up with his own conclusions. Like he said, it was more like the reactions, but Stephen A. Smith would be in the wrong when he would react. And let's be honest, Stephen A. Smith ain't doing no research. He's not caring. And like he said, he's not coming up with these hot takes at all. He's just reacting to them. So when he's reacting and it's kind of like, wait, that don't make any sense. Like, what are you trying to say? Yeah, you do look stupid. And just like Max was saying earlier, you don't want to be undermined when you do the show. And that's probably how Stephen A. Smith felt, like he was being undermined. Like, oh, well, this guy's over here trying to make me look stupid.
So there's a lot of pressure on his partner to come up with a counterintuitive conclusion about everything. Now, how do you do that? Well, you're just making it up. You're doing it for TV. No, what you do is you take a topic, and a good producer will start to drill down on the topic and say, okay, so you agree about this. So Mahomes is a great quarterback. But what does he do well and what does he not? And you keep going down until until you get a divergent opinion. Well, actually, I think he is good at this. No, I think he's good. No, actually, the most important player on that, we both think this is going to win. This team's going to win the championship. We both think this is why. Drill down. But no, actually, the key player is, other than the superstar, is this guy. No, it's that guy. Actually, Draymond Green is the second most important player on the Warriors, right? He's actually the pick and roll partner who does all the dirty work.
Victor Wembanyama is the best player in the NBA right now.
There you go. There's a counterintuitive conclusion.
Yeah.
But you keep digging until you get a divergent opinion, and there is your argument. But there was a lot of pressure on that show. Like Stephen A's opinion will not diverge into counterintuitive almost ever. So his big take will be, but he'll deliver it theatrically, is Steph Curry is the greatest shooter that God ever created. Who does not know this?
Yeah.
Everyone knows this. A counterintuitive take would be, actually, you know who the best shooter on the Warriors is? It's Klay Thompson. Because when I'm making this up, I don't believe this. I thought it was Steph. But because when
it is Steph, but he's a perfect example. Like Stephen A. Smith is he's just saying what we already know. Like, you can't argue with that. Like, if everybody, like, when you have these kind of shows where, like, you discuss a topic and stuff like that, like, you want to have people on the other side of it. And so, with that being said, yeah, something like Steph Curry is the greatest shooter. Yeah, that's true. Look at his record. He's the number one three-pointer. Like, come on. Like, look at Steph. Yeah, he's the number one. You can't argue with that. Like, you can try, but you just look dumb arguing that.
When you say greatest, you have to talk about high leverage moments too. And I have more confidence in Klay hitting a high leverage moment 3 than I do Steph. Something like that, right? You have to, that will never happen. So there was pressure on that show for me to keep digging until you hear something you think is crazy.
This is the perfect example of what you just said. Jalen Brunson is the best Knick of all time.
There you go. Do you believe that?
No.
Okay, then you can't say that.
It's arguable, though.
But you have to keep digging until you find the thing that Bill Simmons thinks is actually true.
But I'm saying true. On those shows, if I say that in a production meeting, they're like, "That's amazing."
They'll go nuts. But
segment 2, let's do it.
But you should not say the thing you don't believe. You know, you should stick with, and that's so. The difficulty with me on that show was it was a lot of work to keep digging until I said the thing that I believed that would also get a reaction.
But on top of it, they're telling you Cowboys, Lakers, Knicks, Yankees, like it's all the big teams
for good reason,
over and over again. That's the red meat.
You fish where the fish are.
Like right now, the Cowboys having a little run. It's perfect because it's actually reasonable to talk about them. I remember when I was doing Countdown, they're trying to make us lead with the Lakers all the time because that's coming from Bristol. Of
course,
lead with the Lakers again. It's like, well, can we lead with Memphis? They just traded Rudy Gay and the team's better.
I would tell you, interesting first do not lead with Memphis.
No, talk about Kobe. Can he make? How high can they get? And then we'd.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and stop it right there. But this was a great interview. I did get a chance to watch the whole thing. And just hearing Mac's perspective on everything and how that show worked, it makes a lot of sense to me. And it makes sense why he was probably not the best fit for it as far as Stephen A. Smith being his counterpart. And maybe in another way, we can say that for Stephen A. Smith, Max wasn't the best sparring partner to have on that show. Like, either way. But, you know, Stephen A. Smith, I feel like he was threatened. And just like Max said, he was scared to debate him. Muhammad Kellerman, he was afraid to debate him. And let's be honest, if somebody is a stronger debater than me, I'm going to make sure that I do my research and I really try to dive into, okay, I really need to study and really be up on game so I can get better. Like, I feel like when somebody's a better debater than me, it challenges me to do better. But for Stephen A. Smith, he didn't see it that way. But again, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and let me know what you guys think of all of this. Do you feel like Stephen A. Smith did not like this man because he was way too smart? Or did y'all might not like Max? Let me know in the comment section. I appreciate y'all for watching, but we out of here. Deuces, everybody. We out.